Hey everybody, welcome to Our Watch. I am Tim Thompson. We have a great guest on the program today with some great information for you about what's going on in the world of health. Also going to get an update from her what's going on in the world of law as she's bringing a lawsuit against Kaiser Permanente. We're going to talk more about that. Before we bring her on, I want to remind you, do us a favor, like this video, share it with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Head on over to ourwatch.com, become an Our Watch Watchman. We'd really appreciate that. So many things going on. Love to keep you informed. So that being said, we've got, like I said, a great guest. Tori Jensen is with us today. Tori, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you know, I first met you through a mutual friend who sent me an email saying, you've got to check out this nurse, Nurse Tori. She is an incredible fireball and standing up for what is true and right, and you certainly have done that, and we're grateful. You want to share just a little bit before we get going, a little bit about your story?
Thank you. And thank you for your boldness too, because I first met you, I think years before, but then you actually hosted our press release for the Kaiser lawsuit, and we kind of went live with when it was actually filed. And thank you for your boldness, because there's not a lot of pastors out there that are willing, especially in California, that are willing to draw a line in the sand and stand up for what's right and to push back on all the evil that we see in the world. So thank you for that. It's very encouraging here in California. So just a little bit about me. Back in 2021, I was working as a COVID nurse for Kaiser Permanente here in San Diego. And my religious exemption for the COVID-19 vaccine was denied, and I lost my job. And since then, I have started a wellness business because, it's like my options were leave California, which plenty of people did, drive to try to find a hospital that would employ me without being vaccinated, or because this is America and it's amazing and it's the land of opportunity, I started my own business. So now I help Christian women lose weight and balance their hormones using my simple process and my background as a registered dietitian and a registered nurse.
Well, that's an incredible thing that you're doing. You know, so many people just bow down, they give up. You didn't do that. You weren't willing to do that. You know, we put the video out of when they were bringing you out. They basically they were treating you like a criminal, having security bring you outside. I mean, it was horrible. But you've got this new venture you're on. Tell us more about this. I mean, we've got this great movement happening, the Make America Healthy movement, Make America Healthy Again movement. Why are you excited about that?
I'm so excited about it. It actually feels a little bit surreal. It's hard for me to believe that this is happening, because for so long we've just known that the healthcare system was broken, and not just the healthcare system, but our food and the pay-to-play system, where the pharmaceutical industries scratch the back of the doctors and the doctors scratch their back, and the whole thing. And really what I saw in the hospital as a dietitian and a nurse was that we are just trying to fix the problem once we're broken. And really, there's so much you can do from a nutrition and lifestyle standpoint if you have the right tools and the right information. And so seeing people like RFK Jr. totally swallow his pride and join Trump for the better of our country, and then just how much they're highlighting the corruption with big pharma and the food industry, and how the regulatory systems are all in bed with the big pharma. It feels a little surreal to me. I'm almost like, is this really going to happen? Are we really going to see things change? And then I think the only good thing to come out of California in the last few years was the fact that recently they banned food dyes. Like, that was very recent. And I'm almost like, what's the catch? Are they just throwing us a bone because they're doing all this other crazy stuff and hoping that we'll just look
Right.
over here and see how great we are? But I'm just encouraged, because my mission with women is to just simplify this process, because there's so much that's been confused. And my hope with the Make America Healthy Again is that they're going to make access to nutrition and lifestyle changes a lot more affordable and readily available for people, the average person.
Yeah, it's so important too. I mean, God has created our bodies in such a way that we need to fuel them properly. We need to treat them right, and our culture and even our government has done a lot of bad for us in creating, an environment where we're not healthy the way God designed us to be healthy. So it's so important that people start to take that a little bit more serious.
Absolutely. And it goes hand in hand. I recently was reading a book about I think it was Love Thy Body, and it was definitely about the trans movement. It wasn't about the getting healthy at all, but the parallel between how we've separated our physical body from our mental and spiritual life, and how that happened kind of with Darwin, when it was that whole idea of, okay, well, you're just a clump of cells, and you weren't created in the image of God. You weren't created with a divine purpose for your life. You're just over here existing. So what you do with your body actually doesn't affect what you do with your mind and your spirit. And when you say it out loud, we know that that's not true, but culturally, I think we have adopted that. Particularly when it comes to our health and wellness, like, no, not throwing shade on any churches that serve donuts and whatever, because I like a good donut and coffee too.
Yeah,
And it's also not your place as a church, I don't think, to educate on health. Like, that's not your strong suit. However, we make light of, oh, we can do whatever with our body and it's not going to affect our mind. But we just see the mental health crisis we have, the obesity crisis. We know the chronic illness, that crisis we have. We know it affects our mind and it affects our spirit. So I would like to bring those all together and really just highlight too what a spiritual battle we are in for our body, because our body is a tool that God uses to fulfill his purpose in our life.
absolutely. I want to get your information so that way people can connect with you, especially if they want, if it's a woman who's wanting some help, and it's a help you can offer. But before we get into that, I want to ask you about your lawsuit with Kaiser, and I want it for a point of clarification just for myself. Is Dan Watkins the one that's doing your lawsuit for you?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I think I'm actually acting as a witness in that case. So
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
I believe so. Dan and I have been working together, and they needed somebody to come as a professional witness as to whether or not there was a religious claim. So I won't speak much about that because Dan's got me working on some things. But tell us about your lawsuit. There's a lot of people involved in it, right?
Yes. And okay, so your church is 412, correct?
Correct.
In Temecula?
Yes.
Okay, so the day that we filed our lawsuit, we had our press release at your church, 411 people in my lawsuit, and we added one more that day. So for a total of 412. And
Yeah.
I feel like that just isn't a coincidence.
Right.
There's just no coincidences. I don't really believe. Our God is definitely going before us in this lawsuit, but it's going to be a long, drawn out process.
Yeah.
Because it is such a big lawsuit, they combined all of the people complaining against Kaiser. So it's our lawsuit with Dan, and then there's all these others that combined under the same complaint. And I don't really understand how all that works or why they were able to do that. But we did recently have a win. Kaiser moved to have it put in the federal court versus at the state level. And that was denied. And I'm not, again, not sure, because I'm not legal professional, why that was beneficial to them. But it was a win for us that we kept it at the state level. And so that is huge. But we won't even, I don't think, start discovery until next year sometime. So
Wow.
I just put it in God's hands. And I know there's a lot of people who are still suffering the aftermath of this, as myself included, when I haven't been to the doctor since I got fired. Like, little things like that. I haven't set foot inside a hospital or a clinic since that.
Right.
Like, you go, oh, my husband said, if the kids need this thing for for volleyball, like, do we need to go? And I was like, they don't have a doctor. Anyway, so to digress, I do think there is a level of pain there that's still unhealed. However, I'm letting God take care and totally be in control of this process, because if we can't control it, first of all, and it will just eat us alive. So for those of you out there, that are still living in the aftermath of a lot of the things that happened during COVID, just encouraging you to let God be the one that's in control and keep moving forward, and don't let this paralyze you.
Yeah. Just what would you say to those who are are still, they're faced with, do I continue to submit to these tyrannical rules, or should I start to submit myself to God? What's your encouragement to people that are still struggling with that?
Yeah, there's no option. It's either God or the world, and you have to make that choice for yourself. We know that God offers to protect us. He doesn't offer us an easy life. That is not the Christian life. That's the American way. That's the American promises that we think, oh, if we live our life a certain way, we can avoid pain and struggle. And if you look at Christianity from its inception, that has not been the case. And most, Christians living across the world and other places, they understand this. And we here in America, I think this is, for at least for me, it was the first time I felt, wow, my religious liberties are actually at in jeopardy here. And in America, I never thought I would say that. So just to encourage you that you will never, never, never regret choosing God, never, because He will always provide. But you will regret compromising your values to make your life easier or to keep from losing your job. He will always provide a way out for you. And a lot of times a better option, which is the story I've heard over and over from people that, God provided them with a different type of job and it's so much better.
Right. Well, yeah, I agree with you so wholeheartedly. We made our stances that we made as well, and I don't regret a single one of them. And I would encourage everybody listening, stand up for what you know is right. Tori, I want to ask you as we close here, how can people connect with you? If it's a woman who's looking for some help, some weight loss coaching, how can they get with you and get some help from you?
Yes, thank you. If you can follow me on Instagram and YouTube and Twitter at the Tori Jensen. But if you want to apply to work with me, go to torijensen.org and you can find out about my program and we can get you feeling better today.
Awesome. Well, Tori, thank you so much for all that you do. And I want to thank you so much for standing for what is right with this lawsuit against Kaiser. As we continue to see this progress, love to have you back on and get more insight from you as to how it's going, and really want to follow that because I think it's important. And I really hope that you guys have a major success in that.
Thank you. And thanks for the work you're doing with it as well. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Tori. And I want to thank you all for joining us. Once again, like this video, share it out with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Head on over to ourwatch.com. Subscribe to become one of our watchmen. We'd really appreciate that. We love getting information that is true and right into your hands. So God bless you. We'll see you next time right here on Our Watch with Tim Thompson.